Welcome back to Generation What? I know it's been ages, it feels like. I've missed you guys. I know what you're thinking. Did you get a haircut? I mean, yes. Today we're going to dive right in and we're going to talk about Simon Sinek's speech on millennials. Now, how many of you guys have seen that? You learn. It's honestly one of the best speeches I've heard given by someone who's not a millennial, thinking more deeply into why the millennial is given these stereotypes, titled lazy, narcissistic, why so many people in the millennial generation feel misunderstood. But this is not because of who they are naturally, but it's because of how they're raised. And unfortunately, a lot of millennials grew up with parents who maybe didn't understand the negatives of telling your child that they could do anything and be anyone at any time. Going out into the workforce after school, where you're given all this cushion, you're given all this padding and encouragement and optimism, but all of a sudden you're thrown into this corporate environment where it's about the money, your numbers, and we don't care about your long-term growth. We care about right now. We care about this month. We care about this year. We don't care about 3 years from now where you're going to be as a person or as a worker. This is a real problem that Simon discusses, is that it's actually the fault of these corporations and these big companies that aren't recognizing the value of valuing each person in the long term rather than just the next year and the next month, and focusing so much on the numbers and not on the person. Second thing, technology and social media. Millennials have grown up in this generation of technology, obsessed. And especially in the time of social media. And Simon explores the ways that this has impacted the millennials' personality and the millennials' way of dealing with things. And it's because a lot of millennials are now addicted to their cell phones, addicted to social media, that they're actually not valuing long-term, deep, meaningful friendships and relationships with other human beings, because that's something that they're looking to their phone to provide. And this is actually true that I've noticed in a lot of people of my generation, is that they'll be at a party or even a small gathering with a few friends, and instead of interacting fully and concentrating fully on the people around you, they'll pull out their phones. Look, I had mine sitting right there. I'm addicted too. So Simon actually also talks about how when we get a text or a notification on our phones, it releases an immediate dose of dopamine in our brains, which is an immediate feeling of happiness. So we've gotten addicted to that. People treat gambling and alcoholism and drugs as addictions, and that they're treated for these addictions. They're frowned upon in society. But why is social media and our addiction to technology not being frowned upon in the same way, when it's really releasing the same chemicals in our brain and having the same effect on our long-term ability to love and to grow and to form these relationships? But rather, we need to fully interact with the people around us, and instead of, while we're waiting in line checking our phones, maybe talk to the person next to you. Talk to the person next to you. Simon's speech really gives a lot of great insight into millennials and why they're getting all of these stereotypes. People don't realize, and they can't really step in the shoes of a millennial because they weren't raised the same way and they don't have this mindset. So we're dealing with a whole new set of problems with this generation, but that's not to say that the millennial generation is not a highly empathetic, impactful, smart, skilled generation. But it's just all of the negatives that people take and compile them into a ball, and this is how they see the millennial generation, rather than seeing what's underneath the surface. That just got really deep. Of this ball that they put together, that, hey, my millennial employee could do so much more if only I peeled away these layers and helped them to feel like they are doing something. They need to feel like they're having an impact. They need to feel valued at work rather than just seen as a number. All of these different things that are really going to make a difference in how millennials work and how millennials live. Thanks for tuning back in despite my semi-long hiatus for the past couple of weeks. Comment, like, share, subscribe below, all of that. Really appreciate it. Generation What is out.